Oh my
for the last
God,
30 years.
folks. Yeah, you know what? From me to you, you're welcome, because if we started this podcast about 10 minutes earlier, the FCC had shut us down. Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday. That means it's time for Between the Rolls. With me are three familiar faces. Let's go ahead and start with our Canadian friend in the north, Chris. Chris, tell us about yourself.
My name's Chris. You find me on Twitter at ChrisWin83. Other than playing D&D, my girlfriend and I paint minis and post pictures on my Twitter and whatnot.
Very good. Blake, aka Shithead.
Yeah, I'm shithead that Miss Jackson if you're nasty. But corporate accountant, Indiana, blah, blah, blah. Don't do much anything else. Yeah, I know, right? Fuck you, Frank.
And last but not least, Ryan.
Howdy, my name's Ryan. DM D&D 3-4 times a week. It's pretty much my whole hobby. Other than that, boring, lazy, the usual.
Folks, we're just like you. Seriously, we're just like you. We have no lives whatsoever.
And chronic masturbators.
That's true.
Adult audiences only.
That's right. Mature audiences only, not adults, because we're all adults and we are far from mature. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Twitter. Follow Chris on Twitter. Follow Blake on Gmail. Don't follow Ryan because cops follow him and judges really don't like it when he gets chased.
The officer says I can't do that no more.
Especially kids. No kids for Ryan. Folks, this is episode five of Between the Rolls. Along with our illustrious cast here, we're going to go ahead and do a recap on the Saturday night show, Antiquity. We're also going to talk about railroading players. Both are pretty interesting topics. One thing we pointed out on Twitter was a big announcement, huge, massive announcement.
Unlike Frank's dick.
Nice. There we go. Wow. R rating right off the bat. Folks, a couple of our players want to do a campaign and not just this murder hobo BS. So in the very near future, we're going to have a group of campaigners starting at level 1 and moving up until I can kill them all. So keep an eye out on Twitter for more announcements on that.
Most of them will be Ron Paul 2012.
We take no political affiliations on this show, except for saying, no, we don't like what we got. Except for Chris, who is a Canadian, and he's happy with Mr. Trudeau.
Chris loves Trump. Everyone knows it.
Chris, what was your Twitter account? We need some hate mail to you.
Nope.
Folks, let's move on to our first topic, the Antiquity recap. Now, if you saw it, great. If you haven't seen it, we just moved it over to YouTube, so take a look at it. I did the cropping and cleaned up a bunch of stuff, left all of Blake's really shitty jokes in, so that's okay. Chris and Blake actually played in it. Ryan, as a DM, is going to go ahead and give us the viewer perspective. So quick recap. Antiquity was 4 of our heroes going under the sea to try and find a magical harp in the ruined city of Antiquity. Chris, let's go ahead and start with you. Your takeaways on the adventure itself. Don't say it sucked because I wrote it.
No, it was a lot of fun. It was different. I've never done really anything underwater related. Mind you, I haven't played a whole lot either. I enjoyed it. I got to try out a race I've never done before and a class I've never done before, and almost died. Managed to make it through this one, unlike the last one where we kind of all dead. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
That's Kyle's fault.
Yeah, well, you know, it's what happens when you play with Kyle.
Touche. Blake, you're up.
I actually enjoyed it myself. Kind of was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I was going to go druid originally, but I didn't want to have too much overlap. I wanted to have something new and fresh, and so I chose Prudence, the fucking old ass fucking cleric.
Heel bitch.
Yeah. Well, it ain't fresh. But I was kind of worried about the underwater setting because that could have, if you would have elected to, that could have been very problematic for non-aquatic players or characters. Because I think I was wearing like a +2 chain shirt or something. I wasn't really in a shield. I wasn't really meant to go underwater.
Yeah, you were not buoyant at all, but that made
No.
your trip down to the surface or the surface of the ocean much faster.
Well, yeah, and then my stilettos kept digging into the silt apparently.
Wow.
But
Murder
overall,
Hobo Inc., folks. Nothing like it.
whips and chains. But overall, it ended up being a lot more normal. It ended up not being as big an issue as I was expecting, and I kind of just wish we had gotten a chance to explore more.
True. Folks, if you haven't gotten to see it yet, they only made it through technically one encounter. Originally written as a convention scenario, it was a sandbox adventure with about 16 spots in it. So we're probably going to go ahead and revisit Antiquity. Now, Ryan, from a casual viewer slash DM perspective, what did you think of the game?
First off, I love the idea of water. I've never played anything that had like an underwater feel to it. I've done like pirate adventures like on the surface, but I've never really explored like underwater. Which I thought that was a neat avenue to go. I do wish the players had thought to use the 3D space a little bit more. I think that would have added an interesting element to it. But other than that, man, it was just a blast to watch.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to hit on was the appeal of an underwater adventure. If you've ever been to a pet store, you've seen the aquariums. If you play
You're a
D&D,
fish.
or you're a fish, or you're a human being that is sensitive to the needs of pets, asshole.
I said there are fish.
Oh, same thing. But I cannot go into our local Pet Supplies Plus. Pet Supplies Plus does no longer endorse us, but we like them anyway. I like their aquarium setting because you just find so much cool stuff that you can put in an aquarium. And it just, for me, it just gets the ideas flowing. All three of you have mentioned that you haven't had that much experience underwater. And Ryan brings up an excellent point on the 3 dimensions. Now, granted, you were inside most of the time. So, Ryan, spoiler alert, in some of the other settings, there is going to be the 3rd dimension coming into play.
Okay.
But yeah, with Chris and Blake and the others inside, it really actually stopped a lot of the creative thought, except when it was rebuilt and the hunter sharks came in from the top. So, where would you guys put underwater adventures in your pantheon of scenarios? I mean, we all love dungeons. Some of us like urban, some of us like the open wilderness. Hell, some of us even like aerial adventures. But what do you think? Above average, average, or nah, nobody gives a shit about it. We'll start with Ryan this time.
I think I would put it at above average for a couple reasons. First off, I love the 3D element to it. You don't get that in an urban environment too much, unless somebody jumps on a roof or something.
Or poops on you from a chamber pot.
Yeah, or that. It also adds an interesting challenge of how do we survive underwater? How do we, how are we able to breathe? How long can we be down there? Those kind of things that, aren't really a challenge anywhere else. And there's not a lot of utility spells that really prepare you for such an event. So I like that concept to it. So I'd rank it pretty high on my list of things to try.
Very good. Blake, what do you think?
Talking about aerial environments and that kind of thing, in our main campaign that I play in, I play the Aarakocra, so I'm used to having some element of a vertical
Space.
space. Yeah, I'm used to having to take that into consideration. I was just thinking more along the lines of if someone were to want to play a ranged character that deals with arrows or that kind of thing, that might complicate things as far as damage goes and how to account for that kind of thing. But I do like being able to have that extra plane to work on. I think that depending on what your PCs are, I think that can be problematic because, like I said, going in as Prudence, I'm not going to call her heavily armored, but going in as someone who's not particularly buoyant.
I think chainmail is heavy armor, right?
Well, no, it was a chain shirt. It was medium.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it depends on how your DM wants to play that as to whether or not you're even going to be able to move.
Thank God you have the greatest DM ever.
Oh yeah, yeah. Where the hell is he?
He's behind me somewhere. I'm not sure.
Well, if he's behind you, you better watch your ass.
and with that note, Chris, what's your opinion on an underwater adventure?
Being the first time I've done one, I really enjoyed it. Again, still not being as familiar, I guess, as others are to the game. It took, it's something I would probably like to play a few times to really get into the, like Ryan was mentioning, the 3D side to it. You kind of somewhat forget that when you're trying to just figure out your character as a whole. But it's definitely something I would like to play again as a DM. It's definitely something I would like to try. In the air, I haven't done too much of neither. Like Ryan, done a couple things with boats and whatnot. Those always go fun if you decide to have fun with them. But definitely underwater, I would definitely like to do that one again for sure.
Yeah, I like the underwater. I couldn't really expound on it too much, and each one of you have touched on it. For you new DMs and you new players, playing in a 3D environment is completely different than your standard 2D environment. In a dungeon, they're either in front of you, to a side, or behind you. Aerial and underwater and even planar for the outer scapes, if you will, they add that element of that third dimension. And that changes a lot, especially with your armor class, because if you're holding a shield and you're fighting somebody in front of you, you are not going to get that bonus from above. And it's been my experience that as a player, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you if you aren't careful.
Bullshit.
No, if you.
How many times have you kicked the shit out of me?
Well, but see, I've been nice. I am a benevolent DM.
You tried to shoot how many fucking boulders at me that one game?
You fly, you die. I don't care. I don't like flyers. But see, you didn't have the issue with the shield. If you're a fighter and you depend on that shield, you are not going to get that bonus if you got a hunter shark here, and up here. Somebody's going to get you, and the surprise factor from above is excellent. From my standpoint, it's always difficult to kill a 5th edition player. It's just completely different from earlier editions.
Too many ways to save yourself. Too many
ways. You got to do damn near the same amount of hit points and all that.
Plain whack-a-mole.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put Chris down. Blake will heal him. I'll put Blake down. Ryan will heal him. Maybe Kyle will kill all 4 of you. It doesn't really matter.
Once I'm down, I like being down.
but yeah, I mean, for when you bring in that third dimension, it depends on the DM. But if you bring that in and you start to hack off your armor class bonus because you're playing it on the surface, so you aren't going to get that dexterity bonus from something directly down, your AC changes quickly.
How would you accommodate the alert feat with that, Frank?
The alert feat for me is always 180 degrees. If it's in front of you, I'll give it to you. I mean, nobody has really 180 peripheral vision. But if I'm coming at you from 3 o'clock high behind you, like I'm strafing you, I cannot see giving, especially engaged. If you're engaged, I'm always more tempted to go ahead and drop your alert status, because if this is what's going to fucking kill you, you are not, well, I don't. And again, that's up to each DM. So if you're a new DM and you want to play it safe, across the board, give them the alert status, give them their AC bonus, not a big deal. More experienced DMs, feel free to go ahead and juggle that. The problem I always have is if I'm dealing with 4 to 6 of you, I'm going to lose track quickly. But D&D is a game of math and role playing. I really like it. One of the other things I think you all mentioned was the pitfalls of being in an underwater environment. Now, it was only kind of glossed over at the beginning, but I gave the party of 4 an item called the Kosar of Bernice. If you're a Cleveland Browns fan, A, you ain't making the playoffs, and B, okay, Kosar was pretty cool. But the Kosar of Bernice was a magic item that was intended to allow a 30-foot sphere of airy water where all of the PCs could play just like they were up above the water. The problem was we had 2 water genasies and Shithead, who's taking a little break. There he is. And one of our other players had spell abilities that they could go ahead and cast on themselves. I think it was Mike, wasn't it? No audio, Blake.
You're muted, man.
I think it was Mike. And then Dylan was the other water genasi. But all 4 of them had the ability to breathe underwater, making the magic item essentially worthless.
Useless.
Yeah. So, but that is something all 3 of these guys definitely noted. If you're going to try an underwater adventure, potions of water breathing are awesome, especially because maybe it lasts for the right amount of time. Maybe it doesn't. And that's just
close that door.
No, you weren't muted there. So that for you new DMs, that's something to consider as well. So we already covered the mindset going into the strange setting. Chris and Blake, tell us a little bit about how your characters were able to cope with the issue. We'll go ahead and start with Blake this time.
So,
is the door closed?
No, it fucking isn't. Motherfuckers don't know how to fucking close doors. letting out all of the heat. I'm heating the whole goddamn fucking neighborhood.
Oh, hey, old man! Get off my lawn, kids!
Who touched the biggest stat?
It's like watching a Goldberg's episode, only not as funny.
Well, and my tits aren't that quite as big.
Anyway, what did you consider your greatest asset as a player underwater for this scenario?
Oh, honestly, I didn't really have a whole lot of assets when it came to underwater in that. As a player, I was aware of the 3rd dimension because that's, like I said, my main character is a flyer. So I'm aware of that. But every time we ended up having to deal with the 3rd dimension, I was meditating.
And being protected by the others.
Well, I still kept expecting you to try and throw something at me.
I am a benevolent man.
No, you're not.
No, I'm a dick. Hey, dice giveth and the dice taketh away. If it would have rolled an 8, I would have fucked you guys over.
Well,
Chris, Blake had magic to go ahead and remain underwater. What about your water genasi? I would think that character in and of itself was uber prepared for what I had to throw at it.
Yes. Essentially, I built Aquaman, so yes, he was fully built for an underwater adventure. However, I did kind of fuck up pretty bad in picking a lot of electrical based, like lightning based spells.
I disagree.
I'm like, well,
I think your fuck up was not using them.
Well, I kept waiting for Thunderclap. I kept waiting for him to say that it ended up coming down from the sky. And
You have to say spoiler alert for those that haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, he uses Thunderclap at some point. Spoiler alert.
Keep going, Chris.
So I kind of shot myself in the foot with that one. But other than that, yeah, I definitely took the easy way with a race that can breathe underwater and stuff like that. Druid being the talk to animals thing. But when you're not sure what to do, I find taking the easy way out was the better way.
And you didn't die. Now, what was your character's name?
Arthur Curry.
And why?
It's Aquaman's name.
Nerd!
I got it.
I don't even read Aquaman. That's the worst thing about it all.
Ryan, as a DM and player, what would you think would be one of your more beneficial attributes for any character that you've played?
For going underwater, specifically?
Yes, for an underwater.
See, I've never built a character with that in mind. I did have an idea if Liamon's tiny hut would work. It would basically be the same thing, though, as your the item that created the bubble. And that was like my best idea. Like if I was going to do it, that might have been the way I went, trying to use Liamon's tiny hut and trying to, pull it with us.
How about a diving bell?
Ooh, like a paladin with a diving bell?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that because, spoiler alert, see, this is how you do this, Blake. Spoiler alert, in the actual scenario, which we'll publish in 2019 sometime, there is a gnomish submarine.
Oh, and Snape kills Dumbledore.
Nice.
Damn it.
Nice. And that was a dude. But yes, there was a gnomish submarine. That was kind of a bonus thing.
And I did get that reference. Yes, that was a dude.
So I didn't screw one up. So I got one. One fucking joke. This is episode 5, and we've got 9 episodes. So one of my goddamn jokes in 14 episodes worked.
Yes.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us. That's all we're ever going to do. I'm going out on a high note. Let's move on to the second topic. Screw it. Second topic is railroading. A little bit about it if you're new and you don't understand the concept. This is particularly bad with some DMs. New, middle, old, doesn't matter. Ryan, go ahead and tell them what railroading is as a DM.
The idea of railroading is to just bring your players from point A to point B to point C with little to no deviation. If they get off track, you subtly or not so subtly find ways to bring them back to where they're supposed to be. And it definitely has like prescribed like events and an ending, and it's pretty restrictive.
Excellent. Excellent definition, actually. Now, folks at home, watch this. Show of hands, who likes to be railroaded in a D&D adventure?
Sometimes I do.
Really?
It depends. Okay. It honestly depends on what the goal is.
Oh, go ahead and expound on that one.
Because if you're in the city, what do you want to do? Something has to get you to the quest giver. Something has to kind of take you to where you need to go next. If you're given complete free reign and you say, okay, I'm going into the wilderness, then you're just dicking around in the woods for a week or so. It's.
Now, you know what? Interesting, because you and Ernie did the murder of the Doge.
Yes.
Now, it was, and I'll be honest, even for me in this particular setting, where we're on a kind of a mild, strict 2-hour limit, I can't help but try and move everybody along towards the goal. Now, the one exception to that was the murder of the Doge. And I let Ernie and Blake run rampant on that because
There were
they
so few of us.
well, no, you guys were hitting it. You guys, if you haven't watched that episode, folks, you got to see it. Murder mystery, 2 players, not an easy resolution, and they managed.
And I do an accent.
Yes, you did an accent, and you got to find the back door.
I always find the back door. That's the other reason why I like getting railroaded.
Yeah, but now with that one, you were in a city setting, and I don't think that I railroaded you guys in any singular direction. Or am I mistaken?
Oh, no. But I don't know how much people realize what exactly goes on before we actually get on live. But
shitty jokes, really obscene material.
yes, there were a couple pictures of clitorati. The secret society does exist.
Oh, wow.
But
Murder Hobo Inc., folks. Mature audiences only.
But
only problem with them is
Ernie and I were basically handed a map and said, "This is the city. You got
to do it in the Dragnet voice. This is the city.
The names and places have not been changed to protect the innocent."
Ah, see, he got it. That's 2. Woo! 2 jokes.
That's about as deep as my voice goes, though. Sorry. But here's the map. You've been here for a couple days, so you have a general idea of the layout. What happens next? Just have this in mind.
Fair enough. Now, Chris, you did not raise your hand. Tell the viewing audience why railroading sucks, in my humble opinion.
Well, it's good and bad. I kind of have to agree. It comes down to the scenario. There are times where, depending on the storyline, how it's written out or planned out, that keeping everybody on a specific track is good. But I personally prefer the sandbox style where, you've got a bunch of different areas. Tomb of Annihilation. I don't know if you've gone through the book or not.
Well, I went through the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The original one.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
But the new one, anyways, has got the middle section of it is a giant sandbox. The end is more railroady in the sense that you're in a dungeon. I mean, you only got one way to go, and that's through said dungeon. There's not a whole lot of other options. But the jungle portion, I mean, there's so much you can do. But again, it comes down to the players and the DM as to whether you want to railroad them through that whole section or let them have at it and let them figure it out and take their time to get down to where they need to get to.
Agree. I really like, as Chris pointed out, sandbox adventures. There's really no set goal in a sandbox, or it's a very loose goal. And I really enjoy doing those because I can write what I think is a fantastic adventure.
Frank likes it loose.
And these guys will screw me over any chance they get. Hadrian's Marble is the best example from the Murder Hobo series. If you saw that disaster, I
won that. That wasn't a disaster.
Yeah, you did. You won D&D, whatever. The players in advance decided that they would just totally screw with me and wreck the plans, and they accomplished said goal. But the nice thing about the sandbox, like Antiquity, or as our producer reminded me, Taco del Toro, anything can happen, and it will. Just because what Blake mentioned is, I want to have a goal. I kind of need a push. Whereas the sandbox adventure is tough shit. You have no idea what's going on. Maybe you need to find this, that, him, her, whatever. Other than that, you are on your own. And that will create, for you young DMs, just a cornucopia of entertainment. Because all you need to do is listen to what your players are saying and play devil's advocate. Oh, at least, we haven't seen any cops. No, you haven't seen any town guards.
Because those guards are the bad guys that you were just looking at.
Exactly. The Brady brothers at the Doge.
Because I think you probably not on air, but I think you mentioned to us afterwards that when I said that, hey, shut the fuck up, those are probably the people we're looking for. You're like, yeah, those are the people you're looking for.
Yeah, no idea. I just wanted a couple of guards to screw with the pair, and Ernie was like, well, we'll go talk to them. Blake actually put that thought into my head, and I just ran with it. Screw it. You know what? Yeah, we need to talk to you. We need to get our captain, and that pitted them 3-2 against the Brady boys, who were at one point in time suspects in the murder of the Doge. But honestly, I didn't give a shit. I just wanted them to have some contact with somebody. It was Blake's idea, and I just said, screw it. So as a young DM, listen to the players. And it's really hard. I have a really shitty poker face. But if you hear Chris say something to Ryan that's something that Blake is doing,
I hope
pay
Kyle
attention.
doesn't kill us.
Now Kyle's gonna kill you. Mama Udu's gonna kill you. But listen to that.
Only if there's teeth.
Yeah, and listen to that in a sandbox. Now, if you've got a linear adventure, and we have written a few linear adventures for the Murder Hobos, I'm just not a big fan of railroading. But you know, if it gets it done, it gets it done. This last one, spoiler alert.
This last one, I was the one that railroaded it.
That's true. The magical harp was destined, as most of my convention scenarios are, when there's 15 minutes left in the game, throw that magic item in there that they're supposed to find and pit them against a deadly encounter. Now, one of the things, if you saw it, you might wonder, as I did while I was running it, Blake, what the hell's up with rebuilding the old building? What the hell?
Well, yeah, I've kind of talked before about backstory and characters and all that kind of thing. Prudence is a knowledge cleric. She is the chosen of Ogma. We came to the Mage Academy. That was a sacred place of learning. Even though it had been waterlogged, she was not going to allow that place to be desecrated. She fixed the window when we first got there because someone broke it in. It got torn down. It got torn down, and it had to be fixed. It doesn't matter if it was functional or not. It was a relic of a place of learning, and she was not going to. She would have stayed there if you would have left her.
I think we almost did. Now, Chris. Spoiler alert. Chris sent off a thunderclap or a thunder wave or thunder something. And started what was originally hashtag railroading. The ceiling was supposed to cave in on the players in order to get them out. That's how it was written, just because I didn't want them to dwell. Chris aided the storyline with, doing something stupid that would help push it along. I was all in favor of that until he starts mending shit, and then Blake starts mending shit. So, in the spirit of railroading, Ryan, if you're DMing that and you have a specific goal in mind, i.e., I want the roof to start to collapse, giving them fair notice so they can get their ass out of there, and they start mending shit, what do you do? If you don't want to railroad them, what do you do?
Well, I like to point out first that I really appreciated the dedication to character versus just
it was awesome.
Maybe not the most entertaining thing to watch, but I enjoyed the okay, that character, I know what they're about. They are about knowledge that is a sacred, holy site that I need to repair. And I liked that aspect. However, if I was trying to get the story moving, I mean, I'm the kind of asshole that'll throw in, a Kraken shows up and it knocks down a wall. Fix that. You want to leave? That's what I thought.
Fair enough. And that is an excellent use of railroading, but railroading to keep the story moving. I like that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, though, Blake. that wasn't your first location that you wanted to go, was it? Didn't somebody else pick the Thieves Guild?
I was the one that actually chose the Thieves Guild. That was en route to the Thieves Guild, and it was kind of brought to my attention that was. So I was like, oh, absolutely. If it's on the way, by all means. I didn't think that the Mage Academy would be where someone would stash a stolen relic, because Prudence had come to the conclusion that it had to have been stolen, because it wasn't. It wouldn't have been a religious icon. So surely someone would have had to have stolen it, and it would be where the stolen shit was. But
Sure.
they wanted to stop and check the locations on the way, and well, of course, that's only prudent.
Not giving you a smile. Not giving you a smile on that one. Not giving you a smile. So yeah, I liked it. The problem is, getting back to the railroading. When I initially wrote it, the Mage Academy was just a minor stop, possibly involving the harp if it was the last place they looked. So the first monster encounter, I believe, were the invisible stalkers. Am I correct?
Yeah, they were.
Yes, and they caused actually a rather considerable amount of problems, more so than I thought they would, because I thought you guys would handle it better. But
I think I missed with like 3 sacred flames in a row or something stupid.
that and what sacred commandment did you guys break?
Oh,
Split the party. We always split the party.
Ever split the party. I don't care if you're in Afghanistan or Antiquity or the supermarket. Don't split the goddamn party. Mostly because
it wasn't a goddamn party. She was earning her God's favor.
Yeah. Oh, wait,
Party shit on the DM to run that though.
that is the biggest problem right there. It's not that you guys might die. I don't give a shit about that. It's
Yeah, I don't have 2 brains to run you
2
guys
and
separately.
1. Math is tricky, Barbie.
it is, and actually it was 2 and 2. You were just sitting there pondering.
I'm talking about the opponents.
Oh, well, yeah. But I still have 2 and 2. So I got 4 over here. I got 3 over here. I'm trying to remember slam attacks. Yeah, you got asshole. And then Chris goes down. Chris goes down. Chris goes down.
When he went down, I honestly didn't realize that I would have the option of healing him, because I thought that my view of him would have been obstructed by the quote unquote chimney.
It was. Yeah, there was just a solid wall.
Yeah, so I wouldn't. When I was trying to figure that out, because I'm like, well, I guess I should, as the cleric, I shouldn't fucking leave him behind if he's going down. But I didn't realize that I didn't think that I would have had the opportunity to see him go down. So I'm like, no, let's just go.
Yeah, and then you guys did. You and I think Mike was with you, right? Yeah, because Dylan was on the other side. And
yeah, we were the two that didn't fucking pussy out and go fucking water breathers. Except I cast water breathing, but she's prudent.
Well, you guys survived that. Now, Chris, you've DM'd before, correct?
Yeah.
And Ryan's DM'd. So this one's going to be aimed at you two. How do you keep, and Blake, you can offer suggestions from a player standpoint.
Go fuck yourself.
How do you keep the players focused without railroading them? Chris, go ahead and start. How would you do it?
Well, I've only been DMing a few months, so
Okay, Ryan.
I'm running Tomb of Annihilation, and right now the players are in the jungle. I don't want to talk too much because I know one of them is watching.
Are they following? They need to follow.
Yeah, it's my girlfriend. She's following.
It's a Serac. It's a Serac the whole time.
I got a companion thing for it off of DM's Guild, which has helped me a lot because being new to DMing, I find the DM's manual lacks a little bit in helping you run an adventure that's already made. They have like a paragraph on a page, and then the rest is like how you build your own world. Yeah, but I don't want to start with that. I want to start DMing. That's from my point of view, anyways. It's different for others. So I found that helped me a lot because the guy had a dinosaur race pre-built, ready to go for you. Some water tunnels that he added in there, and then a full 30-day encounter spread. Foragings in there. Everything that you would really want to run was there. So for me, it made it a little bit easier. So yes, in my defense, I railroad the shit out of my players right now, but it's what works the best for me.
Well, in a canned scenario, it's pretty much you're either going to railroad them or you're just going to scrap the entire idea and go with a sandbox. At Adventures in Philbar, I write them both. I do the linear and then I do the sandbox. And as a content creator, my opinion is if you're going to use my stuff, tailor it to fit your needs. Some of it's good, some of it's crap, some of it's in the middle. Pick out the stuff that you like and do it. Do you happen to remember the name of the item from the DMs Guild? We can give that guy a shout out.
I do not, but I could easily find it.
Okay, tweet that out because anything that helps somebody, in my opinion, is a great idea. I don't have to come up with it, and hell, as a DM, Ryan will tell you this too. DMs steal half their shit from.
I steal all my shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go with current events. Go with the Hittites. Go with something just to go ahead and get an idea and then change it. Ryan,
I repackage movie plots.
Yeah,
that's my big thing.
Exactly. Chunk like Baby Ruth.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
You meet
get
a
an ogre
flesh
in there.
golem and he likes you for some reason.
Yeah. And then you get that when you use, especially pop culture references. If I say the character is a lot like Justin Bieber, you're going to have preconceived notions and you're going to be able to say, oh, okay, I either like this guy or I hate this guy or this guy's going to be a singer. Yeah. He actually, I used him as an NPC and he was the prisoner that you had to capture. But I made him so overwhelmingly charming. I mean, he was to the point of smarminess and people wanted to just kill him outright. But he was kind, cooperative, didn't cause any issues, absolutely no reason to get that hateful response other than, well, my preconceived notion of Justin Bieber is this. I hate this guy. And it's funny because when you use those pop culture references, granted, mine are 1,000 years old, and I'll send you to the moon.
Well, that's even better.
That's why the very first time I met you, you made me Pablo Escobar.
You liked it. Go ahead, Ryan.
The weirder and more obscure or old your reference is, the better. Because your players don't know that plot hook, or they've never seen that movie, so to them it's just a whole new original idea.
And then you can sit there and feel smug.
Yes,
you're the smartest person ever.
I'm running my own campaign that I wrote right now, and the whole beginning section is Suicide Squad because nobody liked that movie. For good reason.
I love Suicide Squad.
I liked it. It was okay.
I've seen that movie so many times, I could probably almost recite it as I'm watching it.
I like it when they force fed her to You Don't Own Me.
Yeah, I started off with my players in a prison. They were set to be executed. I let them decide why they were in prison, if they were guilty or innocent or whatever. They get a mission that's pretty much a suicide mission, but if you pass it, you're free to go. Not one person called me out on that.
Because they didn't know.
Yeah, they've just accepted it and it's moved on. And it just seemed like an interesting start because they were tired of starting in a tavern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, if you can make a villain named Danny Zuko, shit, how many people know who he is?
Work with it.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
There we go. I knew Blake would know. Chris and Ryan, do you know who Danny Zuko is?
Well, now after that, yes, Grease, right?
I know he's
Grease is the
guy,
word. Right. But yeah, I love doing that. So I agree 100% on that, Ryan. Now, Blake, as a player, if you're getting off track, you had said that you don't mind getting railroaded.
You can do it too much, it's like.
Do you want subtle hints, or do you just want me to just slam the door in your face?
Well, no. Sometimes, like, hey guys, just a reminder. It's been 3 weeks since the Archmage asked you to go fetch that shit. He's probably wondering where the hell you are.
Yeah.
Usually when I'm playing Prudence, I am more aware of that for some reason too. Though I think that gets into the whole role play aspect of it, because I remember we had to go fetch something for Taco del Taco or something, and it was, no, we're not just flying off, we're going to fucking finish this. I'm sure that we killed him, yeah, so we can probably we probably accomplished our mission, but unless we actually verify this and finish what we set off for, I'm not happy leaving. So
definitely subtle, or at least
it doesn't have to necessarily be as subtle, but sometimes just even an out of game DM, like, hey,
get your shit together.
Yeah, guys, you've been dicking around buying potions for a little bit too long. Maybe the ogres killed the prisoner that you were after.
In my game, I actually have consequences for skipping objectives or waiting too long.
I think a lot of people.
That. Oh, the goblins kidnapped the mayor's daughter. Oh, I'll get to that. I got to do some shopping. I found an interesting cave on the way there. Hey, when we got there, she's dead. If you had got there an hour after they did, you had a chance. You wait 3 days. They weren't going to, have a tea party with her for 3 days. She's dead. You fucked up. That's how the story goes from now on.
Yeah,
and that gives my players that incentive to, there's an objective. I should handle that.
And the consequences are always an aspect of a campaign, almost never a one-shot. If you go to a convention and you're doing some one-shot with 5 yahoos,
you're supposed to be like an 8-hour one-shot or something where, you're going to have
I'm going to kill these
bunch
guys.
Of play sessions.
Yeah. So that too, for you new players and new DMs, there is a subtle difference there that is not subtle at all. These 3, when they're playing Murder Hobos, if I throw Blake into a campaign, he'll play Prudence the way he normally does. I think Chris will, but if you throw Kyle into a campaign setting, he's not
going to collect teeth.
Yeah, he's gonna hold back on the teeth collection. He doesn't want to be a dentist because. And Ernie actually is the one who spearheaded this. He's the one that really wanted to do the full-on campaign. Ernie is well known for just setting shit on fire and doing the most outrageous things. I can guarantee you, viewers, if he's in the campaign, he ain't going to do half that shit because he doesn't want his character thrown in jail. He doesn't want his character beheaded, and he doesn't want to die. And that is the difference between us at Murder Hobo Inc. doing one-shots and your at-home game where you're trying to smite the evil of the world. You can't afford to be setting shit on fire riding a unicycle, Blake.
That was Bridget, wasn't it?
I think that was Bridget. That was
my monk. Yeah.
What should have been Hadrian's marble that wasn't.
Well, yeah, but we had a wonderful time. And honestly, I want to point that out. If the players are having a good time doing it, and the DM isn't have a stick so far up his ass that no, what I wanted to do today is what we are going to fucking do.
You are putting a ring in a volcano.
Playing the game. You're all having a good time. That's what you set out to do. Enjoy it.
Yeah. Say that again, Ryan.
I just said you are putting a ring in a volcano if it kills you. Mm-hmm. I'm forcing you there.
Yeah.
Fuck anything else you had planned. Nobody has fun that way.
Yeah. Chris, have you made adjustments to your Tomb of Annihilation just so that the players had a little bit more fun rather than going strictly by the book?
Oh, yeah. Not as much as I could, I'm sure. But there are times where going through the companion that I have, it's like, I don't really like that. I know they're not going to like this. Take that out. Change a couple things, modify it to fit the story or the location a little bit better. I haven't railroaded them that bad. I try to let them, like, I mean, use what's around them. Like, I could have skipped a few little areas that we went to save time, to make the story go by a little bit faster. But I chose to let them explore whatever they wanted to. They met some Arachocraws and whatnot. And
Did you let them explore their own bodies?
no.
Murder
Surprising.
of the week, folks. Mature
That-
audiences only.
Surprisingly, though,
Honestly,
one of them wanted to go to a tavern right out of the gate, and we have, they haven't showed up in a while, but like a guy and his son, and I think his son was like 12 years old, and one of them's like, I want to go to the brothel and stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, there's a child here. We're not going to do that. let's keep it a little bit, like, I'm sure he knows what we're talking about. It's not the first time he's heard it, but I don't want his dad being like, you know what, you're a fucking piece of shit. Like,
Well, up on the big board, you can get an around the world for 3 gold pieces from the hairy dwarf in the corner.
It's 50 gold extra if you want Martha Stewart and Carrot Top.
Because Carrot Top brings the trunk, baby. He's a prop comic. Jesus. Oh, I don't know what to
Speaking of-
tell you, folks at home, other than, report.
Carrot Top brings the trunk.
Yeah.
I've never been able to successfully run a railroad because regardless of my choices in it or not, my players turn it into a sandbox regardless. Especially with a pre-packaged adventure. They always do something that leads me flipping through pages going, okay, this book says nothing about what if your players just kill the mayor. I don't fucking know. Like, there's nothing here. This whole book is useless at this point. I specifically Curse of Strahd. Bit of a spoiler warning. It's basically
See Blake. That's how you do it.
Gwyneth Paltrow's head is within the box.
And then you tell them.
There's a drug that goes around in that game, and it's made from orphaned children. Like, yeah, it's pretty like messed up. And my player, there's a whole town of people just completely addicted to it. And my players killed the supplier.
Nice.
And then I had a question of like, okay, now you have a town of people of meth heads who don't have their meth. What happens in that town? Like, you can't just walk in there and everything.
They learn how to manufacture it. That's how that works.
So
I'm guessing no Heisenberg is available.
Yeah, no. There's not somebody else just making this weird child meth. So I had to I was amazed. The book said nothing about.
Frank, prepare for child meth.
Child meth. Got it.
Your new T-shirt. Proud sponsors. But the book said nothing like, oh, if they kill the supplier, every town in the area goes into revolts and riots, and if they see you, they'll probably stab you if they know you did it. And if you have the drug on you and they see it, you've got a whole town of crackheads running at you with pitchforks. So I had to completely just start writing in new things as we went. So after that, I just wrote my own campaign, and it's so much easier just to go, oh, you guys did a thing? Cool, I'll just write a new thing.
Just hearing it based on that as a player, like I would expect, so they don't necessarily know what they have on them that is causing the whole town to riot and attack them.
No, they knew what the drug was. That's specifically why they had it.
Well, but if the whole town is rising up and attacking them,
well, no, I said if they should.
I think or charging them or rushing them or whatever, I think that leaves a whole world of possibilities open. Because maybe it isn't just that. Maybe there's something going around in the town. I'm thinking Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Nice. Question from the audience. Psychology major, do DMs have control issues? Chris?
I actually have a master's in psychology. The answer is yes.
Defend your argument.
Well, my genuine answer is no, because Frank gives up more control than anyone that I've ever met, because he will defer to players on pretty much any issue.
You guys make this show. I do not. So I agree wholeheartedly. But sometimes you got to lay down the law. But Blake's answer and mine are going to be the same on that one. Chris?
Pretty much the same. I'm sure some guys out there or girls.
Nice save. That ball bounced
or non-binary or whatever the.
Let me start over.
There are people it doesn't matter. We're happy with all of you.
That probably do have some control issues when they DM. I don't. I'm like Frank. You know, it's all about letting the players have fun. That's why you're doing it in the first place. You know, you're almost like a little director, so to speak, when it comes to being a DM. You just, the players are making the story happen, and you just kind of put the things that need to be there to keep the story going and keep them entertained while they're playing their game. And that's what makes you happy, is making them have fun and being happy. Everybody's happy and everybody has a good time.
And letting them think they're getting one over on you. When in reality, nah. I saw that one 10 minutes ago.
You have a shitty poker face.
That's right. That's why you got to do this a lot.
Your eyes give it away. Your eyes.
Oh, Ryan, your opinion.
Would you believe I just blanked on the question? I've been listening the whole time. I just randomly blanked at the
control issues.
Right. I don't think I have a control issue. I love letting my players.
I wouldn't expect you to say anything else.
And I won't allow you to say anything else.
Specifically, I think I have a megalomania problem. I just love feeling
with
like
that
god
yes.
of the world I've made. I love, and I love that my players are having a blast. That's my big thing. As long as I've made something they love. Like, 2 weeks ago, my player said, I like your campaign better than Curse of Strahd.
Because they haven't watched Murder Hobo Inc., right?
Well, yes, of course.
Yeah. Tell that asshole he better start watching. Or she.
That's why I keep them separate.
or Shim, or whatever the fuck the common parlance is these days.
A through Z, we don't care. We're fine with that.
No, I do care. I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that's all.
There you go. I think definitely in our future is going to be a DM only episode to go ahead and explain the nuance, because one of the things, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Thanks. As a new DM, it is daunting to create your own adventure. It twice to 10 times worse to create this entire milieu of, oh my God, I am in charge of absolutely everything, and I'm going to bring these 6 players in and realize I am in charge of nothing.
I'm going to lull them into a false sense of security and then murder them.
Hey, that's Saturday's episode in a nutshell.
But just as a perspective, I would imagine that that's something new DMs look at, between now and when you actually get around to that, because Lord only knows when you're going to fucking do something that you say you're going to do.
True. It's like writing anything down.
I would imagine that something for someone trying to be a new DM would be, if there is a group that you are already working with and they want to do a one-shot, volunteer yourself to do that.
Yes.
Excellent. I like that. Keep going.
Absolutely.
Because you're already familiar with them. They're not going to crucify you if you end up.
Blake, Blake, you want to run a one shot so we can crucify you?
But they're not as a person, as a DM, they're not going to come down as hard on you as some strangers. Like if you're at a convention, or if you're just trying to start something off and you're just flying off the cuff. It
Excellent.
gives a bit more of a point to get comfortable with that position.
Blake, I honest to God think you crushed that answer.
Yeah.
I really do.
That's only because I used my thighs to do it.
Well, thank you, Suzanne Summers, wherever you are. We appreciate that. We're starting to run low on time. Let me run a randomizer. Ryan,
Yeah.
tell us a joke. Tell us a story.
Oh, a joke.
No, that was covered early. Ryan, tell us a cute story, anecdote, or where you just slaughtered the heads of your PCs just because
Since I brought up my Curse of Strahd playthrough a few times, I wish to regale you with the tale of Operation Hades. My players are in the same
James
meth out town. No, this gets bad quick.
You're starting
They
to cut
decide
out.
they're going to run a stealth mission spy on the mayor. Am I good?
Yeah, you're good now.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay.
Not nearly as
my
good.
players
Unfortunately, we can
run
still
spy
see you,
mission.
so you know.
Yeah, that's the worst part. They sneak in. They're sitting in their like attic overnight, and they decide right then and there it's gonna be called Operation Hades. Somebody asked, like, shouldn't we later? Still can't hear me?
You're cutting in and out.
I was going to say, you're making me wonder if I'm having
Out, it
connectivity.
might be too hard to tell a story.
Give us the skinned version.
Basically, they
That-
burned
that
down an
lambskin
entire
right there.
town that had a whole set of missions in it.
I like
Due to
burning down
dumb luck,
towns.
bad rolls, and people misreading a signal. They saw one building go up across town and figured, oh, that's the signal to burn down things.
The
that was
Beacon of
basically-
Gondor.
Yeah, pretty much.
Burning down a town with shitty rolls. Oh,
For no reason.
for no
It was a
reason.
perfectly.
I miss being a player.
town. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Spare the
Folks.
dying.
Nah, screw the dying.
Nah,
Folks,
they just let it burn.
folks, you've been here for an hour, and all four of us really appreciate that. Follow us at Twitch. Follow us on Twitter. Give
Follow us
some
in the
feedback.
streets.
Don't forget that Chris likes Donald Trump, and you need to send that son of a bitch bad juju.
Send him back. Send him back.
Seriously, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your patronage. If you want a seat with one of these guys, let us know. We will get it done.
I always have room on my seat.
Or lap.
Wow.
No, just my seat.
We should have cut it 3 minutes ago. But seriously, if you want to join us, we'd love to have you. We've got at least one brand new stinking player. She has never played ever.
Oh, virgin.
I wanted.
She is really looking forward to it. I don't know how she'll fare with these guys, but if we can get one or two more brand new players, we'd love to put on a newbie show. Probably maybe 2 veterans, 2 newbies. The
Oh,
veterans.
my hymen.
God, that joke. God, that joke is horrible. But seriously, folks, if you want a seat at the table, hit us up. Tell Chris you love him on Twitter, even though his political views suck. Email Ryan or Blake. Tell
Don't
them
email me.
enough of the hymen jokes, and we love your hat, Ryan. Just let us know if we suck. Tell us how you think we need to do it,
Or how to do it better.
or how to do it better. If you think
And then
we're
we can
doing
tell you
good,
how to go fuck yourself.
yeah, there it is. That's what I was waiting for. If you tell us we're doing good, we don't care. We know we're doing good. Because we're having fun. New DMs, new players, have fun.
Precisely.
Screw the rule books. Have fun.
And
Rule of
screw
cool.
rule books. Bitch, if you get paper cuts on your dick, that's your own fault.
Bye, folks.